Can you guys see me now? Let me know in the comments if you guys can see or hear me. Finally, I'm so sorry, guys. This is my first time doing this, so I had a lot of technical difficulties. So I apologize for the lateness. I literally tried to figure this out. Perfect, perfect. So happy that you guys can see and hear me. Yes, thank you, Lisa. I'm so excited. I hope I'm able to help you guys as much as possible. Hey, Tiga, hope I'm saying that right. I think you're the one that told me you got the apartment, so congratulations to you. I'm so excited and so happy for you. So happy for you. All right, guys. So I'm sorry again. As promised, the purpose of this live stream is to answer any questions that you guys may have, just to help you along the way in making this process easier for you. My entire goal is to make you understand the process more, so you will be able to pretty much, get through everything easily. Oh, wow. Someone else said they got an apartment last month too. Congratulations. That is so amazing. You guys, you have no idea how happy this makes me. And I hope that you guys are telling your friends about it, because a lot of people don't believe it can happen for them. So when it actually happens for you, make sure you share that blessing with someone else who may not, who will just think people say they got approved but never actually met someone that did. So definitely make sure you share that great news with others so that they could believe and know that this could happen for them as well. So I think there was some questions on the video. So if anyone on here, let me just pull up the YouTube channel. If you guys have any questions, please do let me know. Oh God. Let me try to go to the last video. Um, you got mine in the middle of the pandemic. Perfect, perfect. See, I'm so happy. That makes me so happy. And I'm glad that you're still here. I hope you're enjoying your new home. That is so amazing. I'm so happy for you. And I see you in the comments encouraging others as well. So I so greatly appreciate that, because when people do know that it could happen for them, it gives them more hope and, just the courage to keep going. So thank you. Thank you for being a loyal. I've seen your comments for such a long time, and you're always here. You're always so positive and giving feedback. So I so greatly appreciate you. Okay, perfect, perfect. So let me start off. I'm just gonna read. Oh, this is long. I'm gonna take a look at the comments that for a person that said they couldn't make it. So I am going to take a look at those as well as answer any questions um, that you guys have here. Okay, so we have a live question. What should I do? I will send something that said my deadline will be a few weeks. They need a document I filled out, appeal after 50 seconds. It said your deadline was earlier. I'm not sure I understand that. What should I do? I was sent something that said my deadline will be a few weeks. They need a document I filled out, appeal after 50 seconds. It says your deadline was earlier. I'm not sure I understand your question, and I want to make sure that I do. So the first part that's a little that threw me off a bit when it says the deadline is a few weeks. Typically, there's no deadline that's a few weeks. The maximum, I believe, as far as the deadline is about 10 days. So I haven't, that whole a few weeks threw me off. So oh my God, everyone is calling me while I'm doing this. So rephrase that question so I could better understand you. because I want to make sure that I meet you where you are and completely understand your question before I answer. I can't put my question, it's too long. Okay, try to paraphrase it as much as you can. So you said they sent you something, so you got a letter regarding your application, right? And then you said you filled out an appeal. So I'm not understanding that. So just try to rephrase it as much as you can so I could better answer your question. One second. Okay, let me see another question. Thank you so much for this. Oh, you're most welcome. Why do I have to include my back child support as income when it's sporadic income? Some months I will receive it, others I don't. Okay, so with child support, it can be very tricky. Oh my God, everyone is calling me. With child support, it can be very tricky. So once you are entitled to get child support, even if you're not receiving it in the moment, they have to count it, right? Because you said some months you'll receive it and some months you don't. But how would they know that? Because remember, this is a qualification. This is the initial qualification. So it's not like afterwards you're going to say, hey, I got it this month, or hey, I didn't get it this month. So for that reason, like if you're entitled to receive it, they are going to count it. I hope that answered your question. Let me know if you want me to elaborate further. Um, they said they needed documents and my deadline will be late February. One of the things, okay, whatever documents they need, provide it to them, because deadlines, it's firm. It's very firm, and you don't want to go through a process where you have to appeal and then that sets you back a bit. So definitely adhere to any deadline that they advise. Okay. Does it really help to apply to a lottery as soon as it appears on Housing Connect? Does that factor in the log number that's given? Okay, so this is something that before, years ago, I used to encourage people to apply right away. But the lottery process has changed so much that it doesn't even matter anymore, because it's all a random selection. So whether you apply initially, I think even my first video, I did tell you guys that, but so much has changed, especially with Housing Connect 2.0. So even if the lottery is closing tomorrow, still apply today, because it's literally a random selection. So my thing is always that if you have a log number, you have a chance. If you don't have a log number, then you don't have a chance. So Lisa, I hope that answered your question. I would just encourage you to just get in there and just apply. I had to fill out an appeal. I went on the housing lottery site and pressed the message bell. Okay, so if you have to fill out an appeal, yeah, just submit what are you appealing? I would want to know more so I could see how I could best help you with that. But yeah, so I don't know if this recently changed, but typically you could submit your appeal via email or mail. Now they probably give you the option to upload it on the Housing Connect 2.0, but I'm not 100% sure. What I know that is that you do not want to miss your appeal deadline, because that's very firm. I was in assigned an incredible low log number for a lottery I applied for. I don't live in New York City. I live in New Jersey. So I have a chance. Yes, you have a chance. Once you have a log number, you definitely have a chance. My billing is bringing people from the Bronx fire victim and reject other people who filed right away. Can they do that? When you say your billing is bringing people from the Bronx fire victim and rejecting other people who filed the right way. Okay, so that's different. That would not impact you. So lotteries have what's called a homeless set aside. So just like it has preferences for disability and all these other factors, they have a homeless set aside. So those set aside units may be the units that's being used for the said victims, but that would not impact a person that applied regular. I hope that answers your question. They put the deadline for late February, but on the top it said rejected even though they requested documents. Okay. So in order, if you're doing an appeal, that means that determination was made on your application. So that's status of rejected. So likely whatever reason you're appealing, you were rejected. So they have to make a determination, because what would you be appealing? So it's not like they wait till you send them the appeal for them to make a determination. The determination is already made. So that's the reason that you're seeing rejected. So if your appeal is successful, then it will pretty much override that rejection. Oh, Lisa, you're most welcome. I hope that answered your question. Hey, I'm married with a child. What are the documents I need when they contact me to have? Okay, if you're married with a child, I trust that your application reflect that information. If it does not, I suggest logging into Housing Connect 2.0 and updating your household and your income information to reflect your current household. Going back to my question about not living in. Okay, so there used to be whatchamacallit, a requirement that applicants that live within New York is processed first. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to double check, but I almost want to say that they stopped doing that, whereas non-New York residents will be processed at the end of the lottery. But I'm 90% sure that that ended. Craig, if you could just send me an email, I'll double check. But I'm 90% sure that that's no longer a thing. But I will double check, because it used to be that New York City residents get processed first. Hi, Aram. I hope I'm saying your name right. Do they call each number based on the lottery? Yeah, so it's a random selection. So if your log number is selected, then they'll contact you. At the end of the process, they have to make a determination on all the persons that enter. So if 100,000 people enter the lottery, at some point they have to contact them, whether sending them an ineligible letter or failure to respond or whatever, or a wait list letter. So once you apply to a lottery, you have to get some form of correspondence, regardless if your log number was chosen or not. The email is affordablehousinghelp@gmail.com. How does person on Section 8 and not working right now work? As far as income, I'm looking back for work. Okay, so Section 8 is different, right? So this channel is focused on low income housing tax credit program. As far as Section 8, if you live in a building, whereas for Section 8 you pay 30% of your income. So if you're not employed, then the minimum rent that you could pay is $25. So if you're not working right now, then you would only be paying $25 for rent. But this is Section 8 is, I try not to talk too much about Section 8 because there's different type of Section 8 and I don't want to give the wrong information. But if you live in a building where you have a Section 8 subsidy, your rent is 30%. It's 30%. And if you're not working, then you'll pay the minimum rent, which is 25. If you have no source of, let me not say not working. If you have no source of income, then you'll pay the minimum rent, which is $25. If then this is New York City, I don't know what's the process in other states. I also want to say that if you're chosen to appeal, do they hold that prospective apartment until you hand in your documentation and determination is made? So for an appeal, if they have to have a unit available for you. If they showed you a unit, right, and you somehow got um deemed ineligible or rejected, they're not guaranteed to give you that same apartment, but they have to have a unit available for you. Like a log number beyond you cannot get a unit before you. If the log number that's after you cannot get a unit before you. I've had a lot of cases where an appeal was holding up. Like we had an approved applicant, but there was an appeal that's still pending a finalized response, right? So we could not move that approved applicant in because if the person that appeal, if their appeal is successful, then that approved person will not get the unit because their log number is after that appeal. Does that make sense? So yeah, they have to have a unit available for you. Hi, I got a lottery, but I have a problem. I have a home in my name in New Jersey, only 5% ownership, 43 miles from New York City. So the rule is you cannot own property within 100 miles of New York City. You own 5%. Um, what did the agent, are you in the process already? Are you in the process? Let me know if you're in the process. What did they advise you? Because the typical rule is, do you live in the home, by the way? Do you live at that home? Thank you for your response. Another question, if you can talk about what happened after 15 years, a developer pull out the tax credit incentive program. Will the unit go back to market? It's actually it's actually 30 years. It's actually 30 years, I think. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's 30 years. Um, so that's always the thing I tell residents or applicants not to worry about. So after the what the period is called, after the, I don't remember the correct term, after the 30-year period, developers can increase the rent to make the unit become market rate units. But from what I've seen, like it's likely not gonna be such. They're likely gonna maintain that affordability for those units. Because here's the thing, right? Developers want to be in good faith with the city because the more they extend to affordable families, the more incentives that they will get. So developers always want to be on the right side of things to continue to get approved to build these developments in New York City. So yes, they can. There's a rider in it. I think it's the low income housing rider that talks about that. But I personally haven't worked for any developer that actually followed through with increasing that to make the units market. Is 100% tax credit building the only one that can do a 2-year lease? No, no, there's 80/20 buildings. Sorry, there's 80/20 buildings that does 2-year, 1 or 2 year leases as well. Once the building is rent stabilized, they offer 1 or 2 year leases. If the applications are randomly chosen, what's the benefit of assigning a low log number? Well, honestly, it's not even a matter of low or high. It's just getting a log number at this point. But like personally, I used to think that's just BS. But That's how they say it's a random selection. So we have to go by what they say, right? The Section 8 with the lottery apartment, how does that work for no income? Okay, so again, this is the Section 8 with lottery apartment. If you have a Section 8 voucher that covers the entire portion of your rent, then you may be eligible for an apartment. But there's a lot to Section 8, and I really don't like to talk about it because there's, as I said earlier, there's different types of Section 8. So I don't want to give anyone the wrong information by vaguely just using the term Section 8. Okay, perfect. I'm happy that makes sense to you. Let me see. You're welcome, Maxine. I skipped your question, Abby. Can you let me go back? I'm sorry. This is my first time on the streaming thing, so I do apologize. Bear with me. I'm scrolling back up, but I do not see your question. Abby, if you want to type your question again, I apologize. I'm scrolling all the way up, but I don't see your question. Bear with me. I think I answered. Okay. Oh, I think I see it here now. Currently waiting for a voucher, and I'm working with a caseworker. Product to my current income, I can only apply for one building. When I add my voucher, would I be eligible for more buildings? What type of voucher are you referring to? Once, if you have a voucher that appears to cover the entire portion of the rent, you can still apply. But with the vouchers, it gets so tricky. Um, but you can still apply. It gets so tricky because a lot of these vouchers also are temporary, like City FEPS, Link. I think they actually stop Linked and merge it um, with another voucher type because FEPS and these some of these vouchers are temporary. So it really gets tricky. It's a little more complicated, but by all means apply and see what the outcome is. I'm kind of worried about the process for my lease. How can I prepare? Like, do they treat you like a regular applicant? No. You're in. You're in, Tika. I hope I'm saying your name right. You're in. Okay, once you're in, guys, it does not matter what your income is thereafter. It does not matter what your credit score is thereafter. It does not matter. It doesn't matter because those things are not done. So if you got into a low income housing apartment, each year you have to recertify, but you're providing your income and asset information. But if you move in, say you qualified at $40,000, right? Once you move in, the next year you could make $100,000, and that will not impact you. It will impact the developer because they will lose a tax credit for the unit, but it will not impact you. And if you're in a rent stabilized building, your rent can only increase by the amount stipulated by the rent guideline board, right? So really, there's nothing to worry about, Tika. You're not going to be treated like a regular applicant. You're just providing your income and your asset information, your student status information. There's nothing with credit score. There's no need to run your credit once you already move in. So you don't have to worry about that at all. All you need to do is to make sure you recertify timely, make sure you provide all the information being requested, and that's it. If you move into a middle income program, then there's no recertification. Once you're in, you're in. You don't have to go through the yearly process. But for the low income tax credit program, you have to go through that recertification every year. But it's nothing to worry about. It's not as intense as it was in the beginning. And I'm gonna do a video about this as well, because a lot of people always ask what happens if my income change, or they feel like they don't want to do too much to earn more because it's going to impact their housing. That's not true. It does not matter what your income is. So, and this speaks to both sides. So if your income increase, that does not mean that your rent is going to increase. Vice versa, if your income decrease, that does not mean that your rent is going to decrease. The rent is going to be whatever it is. And the increases are the annual increases are going to be based on the rent guideline board. And that's it. So you have nothing to worry about. I want you to enjoy your brand new apartment, living your best life. There's nothing at all to worry about. It's not that type of thing where, you need to be all concerned about what the recertification process will look like. And if you're in a building, a lot of the buildings are 100% tax credit. So a lot of them, they only do student status. I love that, those type of building where they only do student status verification and you don't have to do the entire paperwork. But some buildings, depending if it's like a 80/20, or depending if the developer applied for I forgot the term that they use, but it's pretty much a simplified recertification where you're just, signing a student status saying that you're no longer a full-time student, and you're just certifying that nothing as far as your household composition or anything changed. So you're good. But either way, you're good. I didn't know about the message. I noticed two apartments were requesting. I didn't know about the message. I noticed two apartments were requesting. I don't know what's going on. I'm not sure I understand your question. If you could just rephrase that for me, please. Oh, I was all the way up. Let me go back down. Okay. Abby, did I answer your question? I think I did. Just let me know, please. And again, bear with me. Do you have to verify income every year once you're in an apartment? How much is the rent increase after? Okay, so Callie, I think I just answered that. If I did not, let me know. So again, if it's a low income, yes, you have to recertify each year, but it does not matter what your income is. How much is the rent increase? If you're in a rent stabilized building, the increase will be based on the rent guidelines board. So I've never seen it above 3%. There's typically different percentage based on whether you're doing a 1 or 2 year lease. And they actually tweaked it a bit during the pandemic, but you can always Google what's the rent stabilized rent increase if you're in a rent stabilized building. Hi, Miss Jade. I always see you in a comment. Thank you so much for joining. I moved into an affordable unit in 2020. If my household size changes, can I ask for a bigger unit? Sorry. Yes, you can request a transfer. However, 2020, so that's over a year, so you should be good. However, oftentimes different buildings have different transfer policies. So yes, you could definitely request a transfer. It's likely a wait list, because especially if it's a new building. This is what I went through with a lot of my the applicants that moved in, right? Because I always tell them, once it's a new building, the turnaround is like hardly any, right? So it's important that you choose a size that you could see yourself and your family in within another, at least over 2 years. I do understand that life happens where it could be like your household change because of marriage, birth, or what have you, right? But it's good that sometimes a person will get approved for a 1 bedroom, but it's 3 of them in the household, but they're so happy they're approved that they just get the unit. Like, I'm just going to take it. And then, I'm just going to take it and try to move to another apartment. I always tell applicants this. I've had transfer lists where persons are on that list for over 3-4 years. So I said, this is not an overnight process. It's important that you and your family choose a unit that you'll be comfortable in and you can see yourself in it for a while. Because what happened if you don't get a transfer, then you have to move out. You're looking for another affordable housing and you're jumping and jumping and jumping. So I always try to give applicants all that information so they can know what to expect. The other thing is, Miss Jade, yes, you can transfer, you can request a transfer, but you do have to qualify for that unit, right? So you have to go through the whole qualification again, and whatever that income range is for the unit size you're trying to transfer to, you have to meet those eligibility requirements. I hope that answered your question. My log number was in the 12,000. I got an apartment. So if it is, I got an apartment. So if it's meant to be, it will be. Absolutely. What is for you is going to be for you, and no one can take that away from you. And all things are going to work in your favor, and everything is going to happen in the right time for you. Um, Abby, you said entire portion. You have to remind me. Let me try to go back. Yes, I was saying, does your voucher cover the entire portion of the rent? That's what I was referring to. Um, Let me see. I have log number 50. Oh my God, I forgot my friend told me to send her this thing. Sorry, 1 second, guys. 1 second, I'm so sorry. Okay. I have log number 52 on the waiting list for housing. How long until they give me a call? It's really, you just got to be on the lookout. There's no specific timeline. It all depends if the lottery even started contacting applicants, but there's no specific timeline. I'll be lying to you if I say, oh, you're going to get a call in 3 weeks or so. You just have to make sure you're checking the portal, checking your email. If you requested mail, then you check your mail to make sure that you're not missing any correspondence. And I always say the email, because this is something that I see. It may sound crazy, but I've had people 5-6 years later telling me, oh, they just noticed an email. Is the unit still available? Like, ma'am, no, I emailed you 6 years ago. What are you asking me? But I'm saying that to say, make sure the email that you use is actually an email that you check, and don't use an email that you have all these store correspondence going to, and then you miss it, right? And the portal with all the new features, you will literally see the notification in the portal as well. But make sure if you selected email, actually let it be an email that you check on a daily basis. This affordable housing process, everything is so time sensitive, and if you miss a deadline, that could be a missed opportunity right there. So just stay on top of things. Okay, Abby, I don't know what you mean. How about vouchers of any kind? You have to be a little more specific so I can make sure I'm answering your questions correctly. Okay. Oh, I said your name right. Yeah, you're supposed to make more money. A lot of people always feel as though, oh, they move in there, and you're supposed to make more money. That's why I always say, get in when you're starting out, right? Because the ultimate goal is for you to improve in your career and improve in your life, and you make more money. However, when you start making a ridiculous amount of money, then it's time for you to move out of an affordable housing to give it a family that actually needs this, income. I think I told you guys this in a previous video, but I once had a resident that it's him and his sister. They got a 1 bedroom in Midtown, right? They had it for years. they're both now doctors, and they made over $500,000 and was still living in an apartment where they're paying $600 for. I'm sure they don't technically live there. They probably have a house in wherever, and this is probably their weekend home or what have you. But they never gave up the apartment, even though they're literally making over $500,000 and their rent was like $600. And it just hurt me every time that they submitted documents to recertify. I'm like, give up the apartment. It's like, come on, you had it. Okay, maybe you had it when you were in medical school and so forth, but now you guys are making a ridiculous amount of money. It's okay for you to give it up right now, but to each his own. I'm just saying. I neither live nor pay the mortgage. My brothers do. Okay. So I would say, is there rental income from this property? Is there rental income? If you don't live in the property, there may be a possibility that you could be eligible, but just know that the value of the property will be counted towards your assets and so forth. I'll say give it a shot. The rules has changed, so give it a shot. There's no what kind of vouchers are best for these buildings. There's no specific voucher that's best for the buildings. If you have a voucher, great. If you don't, that's also fine. You just have to ensure that you meet eligibility criteria. So it's no, you being eligible is not contingent on if you have a voucher. So it really just doesn't matter. Having a voucher does benefits you financially as far as the rent portion. Start that business. The what if you start the business, and don't even put small before it, because I believe that your business is going to be big. Your business is going to be above and beyond. So it's not going to be a small business, but all that happens is that that's just an additional source of income that you just have to report. But start your business. Do what you have to do. There's nothing that's going to impact, like you don't have to maintain the same job that you had when you move in. You know, your life changes, so that nothing is going to impact you once you're in, as far as changes to your life and or your income. So start that business and tell me about it. You're number 5 on a public. Okay, that's really great. I trust that you will get an apartment very soon. That's really amazing. Sometimes these wait lists takes a long time, but again, everything happens when it's supposed to. So maybe the time is now for you. I think I just answered that regarding the vouchers. Guys, like the live. Oh yes, like the live, share it with a friend. And I hope, tell me if you are finding this information helpful. Put a number 1 in the comment. Let me know your feedback if this is helpful. This is my first time doing a live. I struggled, that's why I was late. I struggled to set this whole thing up. But if you're finding this information helpful, leave the number 1 in the comment just to give me some feedback. And also share the channel with a friend if you haven't already done so. Subscribe, and definitely like the live. I think that's an option. I don't even know. I'm just reading what Anne Marie said. Okay, Mariba, is the recertification the same as signing another lease? It's kind of similar. It's similar. Yeah. You'll sign a renewal. You'll sign a lease renewal. So once you provide your income and asset information, compliance team do what they need to do, and you'll be given a lease renewal for you to sign to indicate if you're doing a 1 or 2 year lease. Oh, yes, you are gonna get a beautiful apartment. Oh, you're most welcome. Thank you for all your hard work. Yes, you're gonna get it. And I want you to believe that it's gonna happen for you. And no matter what obstacles come along, keep going. Even if the first one don't work out, that wasn't for you, and there's just greater in store for you. So just be of good courage and keep going. I've been applying since 2015 and haven't gotten as much as a denial. I applied out of my CB and I'm a municipal worker. Okay, yes, definitely have the faith, Maxine. But Maxine, are you watching my videos to make sure you're following the steps? You know, a lot of people, what was happening is that they're not, their applications are not updated. They're applying for buildings that they don't qualify for, right? And when you do those things, then it increases the possibility of you getting these denial, right? And then that increases the likelihood of you, feeling down and defeated and not wanting to do this anymore. So it's important that we apply to buildings that we actually are eligible for, because when you do, then you will likely get the apartment. But what I encourage you to do is to, watch the videos, learn about the process, read the HDC marketing handbook. I just did a general overview showing you guys how to easily locate information. So I'll just say keep going. Having a CB preference is really great. You actually have two preferences, because there's a preference for municipal employees and then there's a community board. So for all those who doesn't know, CB mean community board. So if you live within the zip code of the building, if you live within that community board, then you get preference among other applicants. So you'll fall under two preferences. So I'll say just be of good courage, make sure your application is updated. I just did a video showing you guys how to use the refined search feature. Make sure you're doing that and make sure you're applying to buildings that you actually are eligible for. Yes, if for section 8 you pay 30%. Same. Having a voucher, again, it doesn't really, I wouldn't really say it changes. Like if you're eligible for the building, you're eligible for the building. So I'll just say with a voucher that covers the entire rent, that's good. So you can apply for more buildings. Okay, the wait lists keep moving every single week. That's very good. With public housing, I mean, I guess there's different types of buildings. I assume, or let me not assume, is it an older building or is it a newer building? Because typically for the older buildings, there may be more options. I'm not sure, but for the wait list that I maintain, I know for the most part, you could already not even look forward to anything in a year or two, because the probability of us getting a turnaround so soon is slim to none. I like that. Abby opened a new email just for housing. That is really good. I like that idea, and I encourage you guys to probably do the same, unless you have another email that you closely monitor. But that's really good, Abby. That's a great idea. Lovely Sam. I'm getting married in 3 months. Congratulations. I've been accepted for a affordable unit. That'll be moving into the end of this month. Would it be a problem for my husband to move in with me? Okay, so what you need to do is, oh, you're getting married in 3 months, so you're not yet married. Okay. So if I would say, speak to the specialist, speak to the leasing agent, because it shouldn't be a problem, because your change in household or your request to add an additional household um, member would fall under extenuating circumstance, which marriage qualifies as such. So I don't anticipate it being any issues at all. Yes, buildings have to take vouchers. It will be discrimination if they do not take vouchers. All any building affiliated, I mean, not even just affiliated, but a building cannot deny you because of a voucher. Cannot say they don't take vouchers. Some, like, I remember when I did middle income lotteries, what I used to explain, and we always have to be so cognizant of how we say this, is that we do accept vouchers. However, with having a voucher, it's high, like it's highly unlikely that the voucher would cover the portion of the rent because it was middle income units. The lottery ended in August. Cinnamon House in Front told me that they got my application in November. How long should I expect to wait? How long should I expect to wait before I hear from someone? Again, every developer is different. So unfortunately, there's not even a timeline that I can advise because everyone process is different. But what the good thing is that you receive confirmation that they're in receipt of your application. So I'll just say be on the lookout. But unfortunately, there's no specific timeline. I accidentally qualify for one billion without it. I do hope you qualify for more building as well. As I say, just continue applying. Oh, thank you. You're always so positive and just always so encouraging. So I do appreciate that. I'm wishing you all the best on your end too. I'm sure your business will do great and I'm sure you'll continue to enjoy your home. So for all who join afterwards, Tiga, the person that's on the screen now, she actually got an affordable housing apartment. She followed the steps and did what she needed to do, and she was very proactive with her application process and it happened for her. So I'm so grateful for her. She's always in the comments encouraging others too, guys. So that's why it's so important for you to subscribe and for you to just read the comments. Um, so you could be encouraged and know that it's real and it's happening for people just like you. My log numbers seem much higher now that COVID is coming to an end. It's just Um, listen, everyone is applying for affordable housing now. So that's all the more reason why you guys see me here. Like literally, I just came home and I want to give you guys this information. Everyone is applying for affordable housing. Typically, when I do lotteries, sometimes we have over 100,000 applicants. So everyone is applying. So you just have to keep applying as well and be of good courage. I'm so happy that this information is helping you. I'm seeing the ones in the comment. I'm so happy that this information is helping. If you start a new job, how many pay stub would you need? Or can you use the employment verification letter? So if you start a new job, you could provide a pay stub that you have, but in the interim, you could definitely have your employer provide employment verification letter. Happy this information is helping you guys. My brother log number is X and X. The lottery closed in December. Yeah, so just hang in there. Once you apply, you have your application ID. Once you apply, guys, you are gonna be assigned a log number and you are gonna be contacted. You have to receive some form of correspondence, and you could also log in the portal. That's a great thing about Housing Connect 2.0. You could also log in the portal to see additional updates as well. So I'll say hang in there. That's pretty typical. The lottery closed. There's a lot of steps in between before developers actually start reaching out to applicants. So I wouldn't be. Your brother has nothing to worry about. He just needs to stay on top of his email, check the portal, and just be proactive. Oh, thank you, Maxine. I'm so happy that this is helping you guys. I got so worried when it wasn't working early. I'm like, oh my God, I told everyone 8 o'clock and now I'm late and I don't like to be late for anything. So I was really, really about to probably start crying. No worries, Abby. I'm here to help. He's a very low income person. Okay. Well, once your brother meet the income criteria, and he's contacted, there you go. I recently had a baby. Congratulations. We're looking to transfer to a 3 bedroom. We asked our billing and they said to reach out to Housing Connect. Hmm. Well, you know why they probably say that is because, and this is all new, and I'm gonna vaguely speak on it because I don't have all the new information for the transfer process, but they did started doing re-rentals. Re-rentals meaning the unit was previously rented in Housing Connect. So maybe that's why they asked you to reach out to Housing Connect. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna speak to my friend at HDC to learn more about that because I haven't looked into that too closely. But typically, the process is done through the developer, but they did revise that and they're trying to have everything done because there were so many issues with transferring. So I think that's one of the reasons why the city wanted that to now be on Housing Connect. So you may be able to log in and see some information on it regarding that. But what I'll do once I know more about that, I'll do a video clarifying that because I'll have to look into it. I haven't dived into transfers in a long time. But what you could ask them is, okay, ask them for clarification. Ask them if you have to apply on Housing Connect. Is that what they're stating? If you need to apply for the transfer in Housing Connect. Yes, you're applying in Housing Connect. Perfect. I actually been watch you last year. That's so funny. Well, you got to do what you got to do. Hello, how are you? Thank you for joining. Guys, I'm going to be on for another 10 minutes or 7 minutes to 9:30. Um so just make sure you drop your questions. No rental income. Okay, so I'll say go through the process. See what happens. You may be able to finesse your way through it. It's 5%. There may be a workaround. And again, there's a lot of leniency since COVID too. Can you speak on why landlord don't want to accept Section 8 vouchers? Is it because of the HUD rules? So historically, um, occasionally private, and I suppose that you mean private landlords, because and smaller, what do you call it, what's the term I'm looking, like houses, smaller houses, right? Because those are typically the landlords that's more prone to get away with it. For the larger developments, they have to tread very, very lightly with that because they can get into a lot of problem if they're telling applicants that they do not accept Section 8 vouchers. So unfortunately, there's oftentimes a stigma regarding the type of residents that have Section 8 vouchers. So unfortunately, people have like this negative connotation towards a person that has Section 8 vouchers, like, oh, you know, it's almost like they started to picture what that family looks like, unfortunately, right? So that's the stigma that I'm aware of around why a lot of landlords don't want to accept Section 8 voucher, because they're thinking that, it's person that's going to come and destroy their property. It's going to be person, not working, always home. So they're thinking about their water, they're thinking about all these things and these negative things, which is ridiculous to me, because you have a lot of people that are working professionals, though they have Section 8 vouchers. And it's just a unfortunate stigma that oftentimes go with Section 8, go towards persons with Section 8. But that's like so old school. I hope these things are no longer happening. Because it's just like unbelievable. Okay. Did that answer your question? And you can report a landlord if they tell you that they don't accept Section 8 voucher. Recently got a mortgage. Did I pay? Okay. Supply 5-year-old children. I'm not. I recently got a mortgage. I pay for. Based on how I'm vaccinated. Can you demonstrate how can supply 5-year-old children in order for? I'm not sure I understand that question. If you could just rephrase that because I'm not understanding it. Yes, stuff can definitely get lost in your junk. Yes, that email definitely that was such a gem. That was a gem right there, guys. Getting a direct email just for the housing process. That right there is a gem. I love that. Oh wow. Um well, so I'm also a fair housing coordinator, right? So the section you could look up section 504 um to learn more about housing discrimination and how to report persons that's discriminating against applicants or potential residents with vouchers. Just type in the fair housing, New York City fair housing, and you'll see the contact number and all of that information um, regarding being discriminated against. That's a big issue, but you know what, a lot of people don't report it, so that's why these landlords continue to do things like that. Like I always tell my team to just be so careful in what you say because it's critical what you could say to an applicant. And a lot of these housing, a lot of the time, like the city has shoppers that calls landlord, and act like a person with voucher just to see how they will handle it. This is no joke. Thank you for coming. Is it true that it's possible to port out of your voucher prior to 12 months due to the pandemic? It may be true, yeah. There's a lot of leniency as a result of the pandemic. So you could definitely, well, let me not say definitely. It's a high possibility that you'll be able to port out. I'll say contact the monitoring agency and submit your request. I'm so happy that you're learning from the video. Yes, yes, you have to update all of that information. Update all of that information so your info can be current. Look at that. You see? I am so happy. You guys made me like honestly, you guys don't know how much it means to me that this information is helping so many people. Like literally it keeps me going, so I really really am so grateful that so many people are being blessed by it, and I hope I get to save this. So someone has to tell me how this works. I hope I get to save it, and I hope the questions pop up on the screen so others who didn't get to join the live can see these questions and see the comments, and that knowing that it's really working for others. How do they decide who to send re-rentals invitation to? I don't believe it's an invitation. You have to request it because they're gonna treat it just as a lottery. When I did re-rentals, we treated it like sometimes we did a second lottery. And sometimes I used to post on different posting platforms just to get applicants to apply. So you still have to market a unit. I don't think it's an invitation based, not to my knowledge, but again, I haven't dived into the re-rentals since they started doing it on Housing Connect. So I have to connect with my colleague at HDC to learn more about that process. How long does it take for the lottery to be completed? It really depends. It depends how it's no set time. It depends how many units, depends how fast the team is moving. I know lotteries that's been going on for over 2 years. I've done lotteries that went on for over 2 years. So it really depends. No specific timeline, and every single developer is different also, because you have to remember, even though these are hosted on Housing Connect, the buildings are owned by different development team. So one development team may handle there's certain guidelines, general guidelines that they have to adhere to, but one development team maybe breeze through everything. The other team may take a year and 10 months. When I started in this industry, the company I worked for was in collaboration with a nonprofit company. I'm not gonna say the names, but their process, oh my God, it was like, well, I didn't know it was ridiculous until we decided to do the lotteries ourselves and no longer collaborate with them to the capacity that we were. And then literally, but not to brag or anything, but like I love when I did Lease, and I genuinely love doing it. I'm a social worker at heart, and it's so rewarding. And I literally love doing it. And I was making ridiculous numbers where they almost didn't know those numbers were possible, because the agency that we collaborated with, they what I did in 1 month, they would have probably done in 3 months. But again, people do, I'm saying that to say different companies does it differently. I've also worked with other colleagues that we banged out those lotteries. We're going through getting this done, right? Numbers are ridiculous. And then, as I said, there's other companies that are so slow. So it really just depends. And there's different tiers. Like you have some companies, some developers that they have their compliance team and their leasing team, and you have developers that they hire a third party compliance team. So their leasing team has to send the documents to a third party compliance team. The third party compliance team sends the documents back to the leasing team, advise them of the corrections. They do the corrections and they send it back to the third party team. Then the third party sends it back to them, and then they get to send it to the city. So you have companies where there's different people. That's why sometimes you guys say, why is it taking so long? Oftentimes it takes a long time when there's a third party involved, right? Where the person literally have, you guys are getting the behind the scenes, where they literally have to scan your file to someone in Alaska, not always Alaska, I'm just using it as an example. It could be someone in New York, right? And the person sends it back to them. And then you have teams that I've dealt with both. And then you have companies that does everything by themselves. So it all depends. That's why I could never speak on timeline, because I'll be misinforming you guys. I just received my log number. Once you have a log number, you have a chance. And 600 units, that's a lot of units. That's a big lottery. Sorry. So you have a good chance. So be of good courage. And as I said, what is for you will be for you. Oh my God, I'm past my 10 minutes. So 5 more minutes, guys. I didn't even eat my dinner yet. This is how much I wanted to do this for you guys. Personal question. Were you ever able to get a Housing Connect apartment? It's so lovely that you help us, and I think you deserve one. Oh, thank you. So in one of my previous videos, I talked about my experience. So briefly, let me not take up. I'm gonna exclude this from the 5 minutes, but thank you for asking that, right? So I did before I worked in the industry, I applied for a lottery, and submitted everything, started envisioning myself there. I was in college. I was in college. It was my last semester in college, actually. And my income met the criteria. I got the Sandy preference because during Sandy, I was living in a hotel because my entire apartment got destroyed. Right. So I got the Sandy preference, got selected. It was in Chelsea. I passed the billing. I saw the billing. Amazing. So excited. Right. So I received a letter that I was deemed ineligible because I'm a full time student. And I was devastated, devastated. This is like in October because this was the year following Sandy, right? So I got a letter that I was rejected for me. This is October or September, either way. I got the letter and I'm like, I'm graduating in December. Right. So I wrote them a nice letter. I had my employer write them a nice letter telling them how amazing I am and all of that great stuff. They never responded to me, which they should have. But anyhow, it wasn't God's will for my life to be in that apartment, right? So it didn't work out for me, unfortunately. I was discouraged because I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be living in the city now. I'm gonna have to I don't know how I'm gonna park my car. I probably have to sell my car. I'm not gonna need a car. I'm gonna be a city girl. And boom, didn't get the apartment. But God had greater plans for me. So I didn't get the apartment. I ended up moving back, did the renovation. I was living in a hotel for like 3 months. They did the renovations to my apartment, moved back to my apartment, and you know, life happened. However, I ended up working in the affordable housing industry. Right. And so that was my blessing. I wasn't supposed to get that apartment. I was supposed to start working in the industry so I could be here today to tell you guys about it. And the blessing applied to me in a different way because it was through this industry and my success in this industry that afforded me the opportunity to buy my own home. So God have different ways of blessing you. So the apartment wasn't for me, but the industry was. And he blessed me in a sense where developers wanted to pay me extra because they appreciated what I was doing. And I was doing it from my heart. And in the midst of that, I met so many amazing people. I think I told you guys this story. This one lady, oh my God, she referred, like when I did the middle income open market, they were a church group and literally almost her whole church moved into the building and she sent all of them to me. But I met a lot of amazing people, and I met a lot of amazing people, and now I'm here talking to you guys and encouraging you guys to go through the process. So for me, my blessing wasn't the affordable housing apartment, but my blessing was to be here so I could tell you guys about it. Felt like I went on on a long tangent with that, but thank you for asking. I appreciate that. How long does it take for the lottery to be completed? It could take, it depends really. It could take years. As log numbers from Housing Connect, what it is for. So the log number is what ties you to the selection. So everyone that apply, your chosen base, the log number is what they select. So that's why everyone has a log number. How long? There's no specific timeline regarding how long the lotteries take to be completed. It really depends on the developer. Re-rental mean the apartment was previously rented to someone and it's been rented to someone else. So the person moved out, and someone else is moving in. Maybe it could be. I binge watch. Oh my God, you guys are amazing. It's so funny when I hear you guys say that. Oh, that's amazing. You got to do what you got to do, right? Is the old housing connect? No, you have to make a new application. You have to, it's not the information didn't transfer over. I don't believe the information oh my god, this is like two last year. I don't believe the information transferred over, but don't quote me on it. Um Yes, so if you're a full-time student, you cannot be eligible unless you meet one of the five exemptions. So I put a link. You could literally Google low-income housing tax credit student status exemptions. So if you do not meet one of the five exemptions, you cannot live in affordable housing and be a full-time student. Are all the new buildings in New York City lottery? Can you apply without going through the lottery? Most of the new developments in recent years, in order to build in New York City, in recent years, not all buildings, you have to allocate a few percentage of the unit to low income families in order to get that tax credit and a permit to build. So you can apply to a building. You have buildings that's, I did a lot of 80-20 buildings where it's 80% market rate and 20% affordable. So you could apply directly, but you're likely going to be paying a market rate rent. All right, 5 more questions, guys. My accountant is going to kill me. He called me twice. I didn't answer. Okay. How can people win multiple lotteries? Because what is for you will be for you. So once you apply, remember, we have to keep in mind a lot of people are saying they're applying and they're not getting it because oftentimes, remember, there's limited units. Once there's limited units for the lottery. So in theory, not everyone is gonna. If 50,000 people apply and there's 10 units, not everyone is gonna get it, right? And a lot of people they're also applying for lotteries that they do not qualify for. So if you continue to apply for lotteries that you do not qualify for, you'll continue to be rejected. You'll continue to not get an apartment. So don't, what is for you will be for you. So just apply. Don't be discouraged because someone else is saying they've been applying for years and haven't gotten any. Are there afford? Yes, they're seen. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm glad you found my channel too. Make sure you subscribe and share it with a friend. Yes, there's affordable housing developments for seniors as well. Yes, you can apply to a building without a lottery, but it would be a market rate process. If it's like, it wouldn't be necessarily an affordable rent. It'll be whatever the developer charged for that unit. Contact the monitoring agents. Yes. So I think you were the one that said about the public housing. Can't remember. But monitoring agent, meaning whether it's NYCHA, HPD, HDC, I don't remember if it was you that talked about the public housing. No, oh, this is a good question. So the AMI has nothing to do with the size of the units. If you're approved, but have to pay 80%, but you're not paying 80%. I think what you mean is, wait, well, let me not assume what you mean. Are you referring to like if you are you talking about AMI, meaning the air median income, like the income limit? Are you saying if someone that applied for 80% AMI, if the unit is bigger than someone that's for a 50% AMI? If that's what you're saying, the answer is no. The unit size are not based on the AMI. Oh, he put that in writing, then you have a good case right there. They must be it blows my mind that someone will put that in writing. Yeah, that's obnoxious. This lottery's been saying pending for months. Yeah, that's possible, but keep applying. Don't put your eggs in one basket. Keep applying. Yes, you can fill out a paper application. They do have options by mail. Well, yes, some caseworkers are not that knowledgeable, And but they also deal with a lot of different programs, right? So the affordable housing program is a lot. So it's not really their job to be entirely versed in the process. But some are, because you have the caseworkers that do go above and beyond, but some they don't always have a lot of information. And that's all the more the reason that you have to educate yourself, because as you go through this process, you know, you'll be better at it the more you know. Okay, I don't remember what it was before. All right, guys, I think I said five more. Let me just quickly go through it. We have up there. Correct. Yeah, yeah. Those third party, when it's a third party, sometimes the third party are good and quick, but sometimes you gotta follow up. They didn't like me. When I worked with a third party team, they didn't like me because I don't play with, like, you're not gonna have these applicants waiting, because you know I treated every application as though it was my own. So the third party compliance team didn't like me, because if you don't respond to me within a reasonable time, I'm escalating it. I'm not even talking to you anymore. But that was just me, because some of them do drag their feet. So, okay. Yes, I wanted to be a city girl. I was like so excited at that stage in my life. But again, it didn't work out. She's referencing what I just said regarding Sandy. Yes, I started seeing myself there and all of that good stuff. Yes, I'm so happy that I'm here to help you guys now. All right, guys. I think that's it. Let me just scroll through. So many of you guys been watching. This is so nice. Oh my god. Yes, get all the gems you need. The more you know, the better. I want you guys to talk to them with so much confidence that they're on their toes. Like, no, I'm not messing with her or his application. I think she knows, or he knows what he's talking about. Yeah, that's how you gotta be. I'm telling you, you'll see a difference. I think it was Taja that said, um she sent them an email format that I sent to her, and then they finally responded. So you got to just know what to say, keep them on their toes, so that they do what they need to do correctly with your application, because the more knowledgeable you are, the better you're able to communicate with them. And there's little things that you'll say and they're like, who told her that? Like, is she in the industry? That's what you want them to think, that you're in the industry. Oh, you guys are so welcome. Yes, I'll do another one. If I figure out how to save this thing, I want you guys to tell me when you like me to do the next one. Um yes, once you have a log number, you have a chance. So, you missed it. Okay, do you have a if you have a question, drop it right now. Hop ribbits. If you have a question, drop it right now. I'll answer your question. Yes. No, is it worth following up with the agency by phone? Email. You know, if you've been on my channel for a while, put everything in writing. Everything in writing. Put everything in writing. And put a read receipt on your email. When you send it to them. Everything in writing. You want that paper trail, and people treat you different when you write to them a certain way also, because remember, on the phone it's your word against their words. And even if you do a phone conversation, what I always say is do a follow-up email. Pleasure speaking with you earlier, as discussed, this and that, and summarize your conversation. So if they didn't say that, they should respond to your email saying that that's not what they said. But whatever you do, put something in writing, because if need be and you have to appeal to the agency, what you have to do is send them correspondence between you and the development team. So always put it in writing. Be professional. Don't get, like, no matter what, guys, never get out of your character. with anyone. Put everything in writing, be professional, and just know that sometimes I know, because I've been, I've been on the other side where I know, know how it feels to wait for a response, but I also know how it feels as an agent or someone on the development team when you yourself are waiting for someone else. So sometimes it's not the leasing agent, sometimes it's the compliance team, right? Or sometimes it is the leasing agent, because I've witnessed ridiculous things before. But you just have to pray and ask God to place the right people in the right places at the right time, and just that, it will just be abundant favor that's granted to you. So that you got to pray your way through this, because I'm not going to just sit here and sugarcoat it. Sometimes it's very difficult. I've seen a lot of stuff that makes this very difficult for people when it shouldn't be. A lot of people call me, and after they talk to me, they're like, oh my God, I read so many negative things online. They already thought the worst. And I don't like that. My background is social work. So I want people to be treated like they would be if they went into a developer to apply for a $10,000 apartment. So there shouldn't be any stigma, or no one should be treated differently because they're getting an affordable housing. Yes, I'll do a video on transfer. As I said, I have to look into it more because they recently put this on Housing Connect, and I haven't done much research on that. I can't even talk anymore. I got to rejection letter. Thank you. Each time I was able to point out their mistake. See, you see, this is what I'm talking about. The more I got to rejection letter, and thanks to you, each time I was able to point out their mistakes, and now I got my place. That is what I'm talking about, guys. We suffered because we lacked knowledge. Now you have all this information. Bring it right back to them. Point it out to them. Break it down for them. That's what I'm talking about. See, that just made me so happy. I'm so happy that you got your place, and I'm so happy that you actually was assertive and did what you needed to do. That's amazing. And there's nothing to feel afraid about. A lot of people are going through this process so timid. Like, there is no need for you to feel timid about this at all. So I'm so happy that you said that. Okay, final question. Do you keep documents from applicants for 4 years with the same agency? Yes, but the documents are kept on file. Actually, it depends on the monitoring agency. It's actually 6 years for some, but you still need to provide new documents. Those information that you submitted years ago, even if it's the ID or whatever, they're gonna ask you for everything from scratch. Okay. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining. I really hope that this information was helpful. And I so greatly appreciate you guys. And I want each and every one of you to maintain a positive mindset. I want each and every one of you to keep going. Don't be discouraged. No matter how many rejection letters, you just saw that comment, 2 rejection letters, right? And she kept going. Be of good courage, and everything is going to work out in your favor. And if you don't get an affordable housing, maybe it wasn't for you. Maybe God have a condo for you. Maybe he has houses for you. So don't be discouraged. What is for you will always work out, and no one can take it away. And I said in my last video, even if there's 5 apartments and you're like, oh my God, 50,000 people probably apply, still apply. Still apply. Don't let anything deter you from applying. Just keep going. Maintain a positive mindset and educate yourself, right? I feel like a lot of you are not getting through because you haven't educated yourself. So someone could incorrectly reject you and you don't even know because you haven't gone through the information that I'm now breaking down for you guys. I know before you may not have known all of these things, but now you do. Now you actually have that opportunity to go through it. And I also sent you guys a link to the HDC Marketing Handbook. That's also public information that even if before you didn't know, now you know. So use these resources and make them work for you to the best of your ability. All right, guys. I now I have a transfer video to make. What else? Tell me real quickly what else you guys want to see. I'm gonna look up the transfer, connect with my friends to learn more about that. So, which other videos do you guys want to see? Just leave it in the comment so I could get. I want to meet you guys where you are, and I want to also visit some affordable housing apartments so you guys could see what it looks like for a lot of you who hasn't gotten the opportunity to see one. Asset limit for HPD development. So the asset cap is the maximum for a four-person household. So whatever that is for the AMI you're applying for, that is the asset cap. Okay. How do I save this? Oh my God. Though I hope I don't do this wrong. I think I'm gonna end the broadcast. I think it's gonna show me afterwards to save it. Is that how it works? I hope so. Bear with me, guys. But all right, guys, thank you so much. Have a wonderful night. If you haven't already done so, subscribe, share the channel with a friend so this information can be passed along, okay? Would you like to see anything? Okay, perfect, perfect. Thank you guys. Have an amazing night.